Hi everybody, welcome to the Mystery Sports Podcast. I am back after my holiday, and it's not good news. Um, where do you start? Where do you start with Manchester United and just the abomination that has happened and the humiliation that has happened from drawing to Fulham to now crashing out of the Carabao Cup embarrassingly by Grimsby Town on penalties, but we'll move. We move. It's speechless really. I'm not sure. I'm very frustrated, but then also I'm a bit like, does this help us? But then does it help us at the same time? Because we're not going to be playing. I mean, we won't be playing any other cup competition till January now. So does it mean that United have the ability to kind of like have that time on the training pitch? But then I don't think Amarin's had that time on the training pitch throughout the pre-season and was still rubbish. But at the same time, I do think that that there are positives. There's always going to be positives. We scored 2 goals, then Bremo looks good, Cunha looks good. Obviously, them two missed the penalties, but at the end of the day, like, we shouldn't be going to penalties against Grimsby Town. We should be beating them. But first, let's just talk about United versus Fulham. Obviously, watching it away, I thought United played well for the first 5 minutes, and then Fulham just got control of the game and pretty much dominated. I think United were lucky. I mean, the penalty, was it a penalty? Was it not? I've seen him given. I've seen him not being given. I think it's a penalty, but that's not just me being biased. I do think that he's got his arms all over him, and it is definitely a penalty. Obviously, Bruno skied it. Is what it is. Skies a penalty. And then obviously Yoro, it was an own goal, wasn't it, to Munoz? I mean, fair play, good goal really from Yoro, quite strong, and then obviously it was an own goal, so not too much you can really talk about that. But then obviously to concede the way that we did, and honestly, it's down to Bruno, really, and I think it is down to Amarin as well for that mistake that Bruno has made, because obviously he's backing Bruno, and I will always back Bruno. He's probably my favourite player. Just with Bruno though, he's not a centre mid. He's a number 10, and he's getting played in the centre mid position where you've got the likes of Kobe Mainu, Ugarte, Casemiro, but we've only got 3 of them now who can actually play that position, who aren't number 10s. Kobe, I don't know why he took Mason Mount off. Fair enough. Why not bringing Kobe Mainu? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And you're playing Casemiro, Ugarte, and Bruno. Get it? Yeah, both of them are good on the ball, but Kobe Mainu's arguably as good as Ugarte on the ball. And realistically, if you put Bruno in a much advanced position, we're gonna go and score and create chances, because he's arguably our most creative player on the pitch. So I don't know why he's doing that, but that's a massive issue. And if that is Kobe Mainu in that midfield there, Emil Smith Rowe doesn't go and walk through Bruno like he doesn't go walk through Kobe Mainu like he does. He just walks through Bruno, because quite frankly, Bruno isn't as defensive minded as a 6 should be, or as a centre mid should be, because obviously he's a number 10. But that position just needs strengthening, and I don't know why the owners haven't gone and bought a midfielder or a goalkeeper, which we'll move on to next. But having no centre mid and no goalkeeper just means that we're gonna be in an absolute humongous catastrophic thunderstorm, and it's never going to end this entire season, just because there's no way that you look at like the other teams, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Tottenham now, Chelsea. They've all got people who are good in the midfield. They can play with the ball. They can break the attacks down. And United, we've got Casemiro, who's absolutely off his head and doesn't know how to run anymore. Kobbie Mainoo's getting no game time, and he's probably arguably the best one in that position who we've got. And Agate's not living up to his potential that we all thought. And then you put in Bruno Fernandes in there, who's a number 10, who doesn't know how to defend as well as, or doesn't have a defensive mindset like other players like Casemiro, Agate, and Mainoo. So, really, obviously, looking at Labour, I mean, it would be a wonderful signing, but I doubt that he would come, just because, obviously, I don't think United are going to be paying over 100 million now with 4 days remaining of the transfer window. But we move from that, really. Well, next game yesterday, obviously, an embarrassing defeat to Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup. United are crashing out in there. We shouldn't even be in round 2 of the cup. We should be in round 3. It just shows how poorly we've played the past couple of seasons. Yeah, it is actually live. Yeah, I mean, it's just the one word, embarrassing. I don't understand how poorly a group of footballers can play who play in the Premier League versus a League 2 side. It just doesn't make any sense. And honestly, it's like, I don't know if I should blame the manager, blame the players. Personally, I'm more leaning to blaming the players, because I don't want to not back my manager, because we don't back the manager. Amarin gets sacked. We don't. Who do we replace? And then, as Rashford said on his podcast with Lineker and Micah Richards, that project or that rebuild that we want to have restarts again, and you just need time. And I really want to give Amarin as much time as possible, because I think he's a class manager. There's no way Manchester City were looking at him and then now all of a sudden he's a rubbish manager. I don't think that's a possibility. I think Amarin is a very, very good manager, but the past 2 games he's got 2 things wrong. One, obviously, in the Fulham game, putting Bruno in as a centre mid when he's not, instead of Kobbie. And then this Grimsby game, why the hell are you going to put that goalkeeper in net? Andre Onana is a disgrace to the actual club. There's no I don't get how you can have 3 seasons ago the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, with David De Gea winning the Golden Glove. Okay, yeah, he's not as good on the ball as his feet. Onana isn't even as good on the ball as De Gea, because half the time when Onana kicks it long, it goes out of play. Or if he makes a little 6-yard pass, it's a dodgy pass because Delo or Mazraoui or whoever is stretching to win the ball. So, quite frankly, I'd 100% go with David De Gea. And I know people would be like, oh yeah, no, David De Gea makes mistakes, whatever. But look at how many mistakes Andre Onana has made compared to David De Gea. David De Gea, who was at the club for a very, very long time, and Andre Onana in just over 2 years. The amount of mistakes Onana has made compared to De Gea is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And just, I don't know how any goalkeeper, people know I used to play in net, and when you're coming out for the ball, you don't like rush into it. You keep your eye on the ball, and you just go for the ball. You don't, and you jump properly instead of flying into him. Because Onana, when he jumps to try and punch that ball clear, he's gone with both feet. He's not looking at the ball like he should be, and he's clattered into half a dozen players, it seems, and obviously losing his balance, can't get any sort of touch onto the ball, and I don't understand why. I just cannot believe why Onana is doing what he does, the amount of mistakes he makes. And surely Amarin, like, you're going into a game where it's cup competition, there's a possibility of penalties. Why are you not starting Altay? Altay Bayindir against Arsenal won us that game. You saved one penalty in actual normal time against Havertz, and then he won us the penalty shootout pretty much. Obviously, Xerxes scoring that goal, but he basically won it. And you're playing Onana, who cannot save a ball, it seems, and he is. He's just making mistake after mistake. Made two mistakes in that game. The one where their second goal, he's palmed it in pretty much. Obviously, the one their second goal, sorry, where he's mispunched it, and then the other one where he's pretty much palmed it in, and the one at his near post, the first goal. I get it; it was a great goal. Fair play to Grimsby. I'll hold my hands up, Grimsby. Tom, well done. You absolutely you deserve to win that game. It was. You can't go wrong. It was brilliant from Grimsby Town. They should have won that game 3-0 because it wasn't offside. I mean, it's obvious it went offside. Fair enough, United got lucky with that. But my God, did Grimsby Town turn up for that game? Well done. And talking about turning up to a game, Manchester United. This is Manchester United we're talking about. The players on that pitch, as Phil Jones said yesterday on Sky, the players on that pitch should be able to turn up to a game against Grimsby Town and do a job and do the basics right. Quite frankly, I watched the highlights of that game. United do not do the basics right in that game. Those players don't run correctly, or they don't run as much as they should do. They don't pass as they should do. They're trying to do these little things. Fair enough, Amarins might have told them that, but when you're going against a League Two side, a lower league side, gotta do the basics right, because they're gonna fight for everything. They're gonna want to do everything. It's at their own ground. The atmosphere is gonna be buzzing. And United just thought, oh yeah, they can turn up. They'll just roll them over that easily. They're not that good. United aren't that good just to turn up to any game and just say, yeah, we're going to win 3 or 4-0, because quite frankly, we're not that team. We're not a Man City. We're not a Liverpool. We're definitely not a team that can go to another team, a lower league side, and just absolutely obliterate them, because we are just honestly embarrassing. And yeah, and obviously the same thing happened again in the midfield last night. There was no kind of that play in there to run, to break down, to like just play that ball quickly. And then you have obviously Mainu obviously started. He looked well, and I think Mainu probably did play quite well. And I think against Burnley now coming up on Saturday, Kobe Mainu's got to play. I think obviously you can't drop Bruno because he's captain. I would personally, I'd drop. No, I would. I think, can you drop him? But I don't know what you do. I think you play Agate, and do you play Agate? It's a hard one because you're like, we obviously buying Cunha and Buemo is brilliant. They're honestly amazing signings, great Premier League quality. But really, we've already got the 2 10s or the 10s that can play in that position. Obviously, we needed a striker, fair enough, but obviously Shesko, I think he should start. He looked very good, like the way, the power of like the way that he got past the defenders, the shots that he were getting off were brilliant. However, I do think that Cunha and Mbemo, did we really need to sign them? I mean, yeah, obviously the brilliant signings, but I do think that I just think that midfield is just lacking. There's so much lacking in that midfield. It's just it's really annoying to see. But there's it's just like, come on, why aren't we beating these teams like Grimsby? But yeah. Let's just hope that on Saturday at Old Trafford we get our first win of the season. I mean, my God, do we need a great performance? And I think Cunha will play very well. There's something about Cunha that I really do like. And then Buemo, that goal that he scored was brilliant. Like I said before at the start of the stream, that there are positives to take from this game. However, I do think that United just need to get the basics right, play with a tempo and not just like slow football. Get it going, move it quick. Because we move it quick. We've got the players to do that. We've got Mbeumo, we've got Ahmad, we've got Cunha, we've got Bruno, Shesko. Dogu looks amazing so far. And we're moving it so slow. But obviously, if that's down to the manager to build it up slow and like pass it around like one touch passing things, then fair enough. That's his style. Let him do that. But I think that they could be much faster in the build-up of play. Like against Arsenal, I know obviously we're going back to the first game of the season, but there were times where obviously we're chasing the game and the delay or whoever the centre back, Yoro or whoever it was just holding that ball up. And you just think, pass it wide, play it a bit quicker, and we can get into their half quicker. And you give it to Amador and Bomo, and they'll just drive at the fullbacks. But yeah, I also think that this season, or well, the last 4 days in the transfer window need to be huge for United. We need to get the players out: Sancho, Malacia, Hoyland, get a bit of money there, and then go and get the keeper. Go and get the keeper. It's a huge priority now. I don't want out of before centre mid or whatever. I want a keeper because I think you get a decent keeper in there. The defense looks okay. Like when it plays well, it looks very good. And you just get a good goalkeeper in there, a good shot stopper, and United obviously will still get run in the midfield because that's inevitable. Because I don't think United can make 2 signings in 4 days. But if we can get a goalkeeper in, and we could look much better, we could look more defensively sound, and I would probably have a bit more hope and optimism for the season now. I think with Altay Bayinda and Anana playing, or them 2 keepers, I just think they're awful because Altay is very weak on crosses, and Anana is just dreadful. This is the best way to put it. Anana is dreadful. There's nothing good about Anana. Like I genuinely don't understand why Eric Ten Hag let the best goalkeeper in the Premier League at the time just leave on a free. Club legend leave on a free. And to spend 50 million on Andre Onana, who, quite frankly, is probably a Sunday League goalkeeper at best because he's awful. He's awful. I cannot iterate how annoying it is to see Andre Onana in that squad, in the starting lineup, because you just know, there's a feeling that I see it. I saw it yesterday in the airport. I was like, Onana starting, there's something bad's going to happen. I just knew it because there's no way that he has a good game or does something well for the club because he's just not that good of a goalkeeper. And you see on the TikTok and whatever these these compilations of Onana making mistakes and this and that, and I'm just like, wow, our goalkeeper, he's awful. And you look at who Man City have got: Trafford, Ederson, looking at Donnarumma now. The 3 world-class goalkeepers. Obviously, Ederson might be past it now, and Trafford obviously made that mistake against Spurs, but he's still young and he's still learning. And obviously, Donnarumma, brilliant goalkeeper, pretty much won PSG the Champions League, and I don't know why PSG let him go because he's world-class. But yeah, well, obviously United are out of the Carabao Cup. obviously losing to Grimsby on penalties. That penalty shootout, by the way, wow, that was awful. I've never seen a penalty shootout that bad. Like, it was just the quality of it was awful, really. Just like some of the penalties and Anna as well. Could have saved quite a few penalties, but I mean, outside Ian, they probably would have saved them because he's a good penalty keeper. He's a good penalty saver, and I don't understand why Amorim didn't play him. Let me see now. Tomorrow we'll probably do another video look of United against Burnley, sorry, and I'll go through my team there. And honestly, quite frankly, I'd play Tom Eaton. I mean, obviously he's not going to play Tom Eaton, but Tom Eaton probably how bad is Tom Eaton? Do you know what I mean? Like, we keep giving him a 1-year extension. How bad can Tom Eaton be to not play him? You know what I mean? I mean, fair play to him. He's getting a decent wage every week, so I'd keep doing it if I was Tom Eaton. But Tom Eaton should be playing. Better goalkeeper, Premier League quality, proven, knows what it is to have shots faced against him, like he was at Burnley, and he knows how to save. More importantly, and I'm pretty sure Tom Eaton can make a 6-yard pass. There's no way Tom Eaton cannot play a 6-yard pass and still be getting a 1-year contract extension. And then we're just moving on to the Carabao Cup draw, obviously, last night. The fixtures obviously come out. So, obviously, Grimsby Town have been drawn away at Sheffield Wednesday. So, I mean, if United were in that, well, it probably would have been a hard game for us. Wolves versus Everton, decent game that. I think Everton should win that. Crystal Palace versus Millwall, obviously, when they last played, obviously that horrific injury to Mateta happened, but Palace should win. Burnley Cardiff, Burnley should win. Wrexham versus Reading. I mean, Wrexham had a bit of a shaky start this year, but I think they'll kick on. They'll get some consistency. Wrexham win. Wigan versus Wycombe. That's a very tough game. I think Wigan just. Actually, no, I think Wycombe just edge it, maybe on penalties or something like that. Barnsley versus Brighton. Obviously, Brighton win. Fulham, Cambridge. I think Fulham win. Obviously, no brainer. Port Vale versus Arsenal. The Arsenal go travelling to Port Vale. So I do think Port Vale will win that. I think it will be a 2-1 win to Port Vale. Very, very certain on that. Swansea versus Nottingham Forest. Obviously, Forest should win. Tottenham versus Doncaster. Tottenham should win. Lincoln versus Chelsea. Chelsea should win. Brentford versus Villa. I think Villa had a bit of a poor start this year, but probably Villa win. Huddersfield versus Man City. City win. Liverpool Southampton. Liverpool win. And Newcastle Bradford, and Newcastle win. So I think that's probably what would happen. It's a decent draw. Obviously, City with a favourable draw. Liverpool as well with a favourable draw. To be fair, all main Premier League clubs have got very favourable draws. I think the games to look at within that week, it will be playing. The fixtures will be playing on the week commencing the 22nd of September. I think the main games, the game to really watch are probably Wrexham versus Reading, because Wrexham always, for some reason, defensively this year they're awful. Probably what was the other? Brentford versus Villa, and Palace Millwall, because it's a bit of a derby, isn't it? Really, so yeah. Just finally, F1 is back, so a bit of positive news. So it's the Dutch Grand Prix this weekend. Max Verstappen's race, Zandvoort, the track. Obviously, I think the Zandvoort, obviously, I think this is the last year or the penultimate year that we will be seeing Zandvoort on the F1 calendar. And Zandvoort's a brilliant track. It's very entertaining, and obviously with Max obviously being the hero there, the home hero, I think a lot of kind of obviously expectation is on him. I do think that I think it will be a close battle again between the McLarens. Like Piastri and Norris are just obviously they're miles ahead of the field right now. Like you can look at the past races, the few races that have just been, and the gap that they have between them and third place because they just seem to be getting 1-2s now. It's just unbelievable. I think obviously Max is always going to do strong there because it's his home track. So I think Max could be in there, probably get pole, and then there'll be a massive battle between the Papayas and Verstappen. Mercedes, I think, obviously, me being a Mercedes fan and a Lewis fan, obviously Lewis at Ferrari, but Mercedes, I think, if they get it right and the strategy's right, Russell has a good quality, Antonelli same as well, possibly getting obviously in Q3, making sure that he's there with Russell. I think that Mercedes can have a decent possibly push for a podium if they can keep up with Verstappen, and I think they probably could do. Ferrari as well. I think Leclerc needs to have a good quality. If he can do what he did in what was the last race? Hungary. If he can do what he did in Hungary and stick it on pole, then anything can happen. Obviously, Lewis needs to make sure he gets out of Q1 or Q2. Like we can't be seeing that. Obviously, he's an 7-time world champion. Sorry, definitely an 8-time world champion. But we've got to move. I think with Lewis, it's a bit of a sticky situation right now because you look at he's moved obviously from Mercedes to Ferrari, and I think it's not clicking for him yet, as of yet, at Ferrari. Obviously, this summer break, we'll see what's happened. Obviously, no team can make any developments to the car, well, this year's car. So hopefully, Lewis has been working with the team, which he probably has been, on the 2026 car and making it better for him and trying to obviously get Ferrari and reclaim that 8th World Championship. Some positive news as well for the next year. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez are back on the grid racing for Cadillac. Obviously, that'll look. Obviously, next year the teams will have new regulations of the car. Obviously, another team added, so 21 teams instead of the original 20 that everyone's used to. I think that with Cadillac coming in, obviously they've got two very, very good drivers. Like I've always liked Perez and I've always liked Valtteri Bottas. Obviously, arguably the two best number 2s in any team. And now obviously I think they'll be great teammates, and I think Cadillac will have a very, very good season next year. This could just be famous last words, really, because they could just come last in every single race. But I do think that Cadillac, with the two drivers that they've got, Bottas and Perez, they're going to have a very strong kind of driver lineup, experience there, and just that kind of that their kind of development will be much better than other teams. Like, say for example, if they would like Haas did with Mazepin and Mick Schumacher, they had two rookies there and two young drivers, and they're not as experienced as like someone like a Bottas or Perez or Hamilton or Fernando. So I think having them two vastly experienced drivers then just gives them more time for when their time is up, they can get those young drivers in with a great quality car, and obviously in that midfield battle, obviously going to then trying to push up for the championship. I think Aston Martin as well. I think they could be a dark horse in this race. There's something about Aston Martin. The past few races have done very well, and I know one of my cousins he's an Aston Martin fan, and obviously he wants them to do well, and I think it's a good news for them that I think that they'll do well in this back end of the season. Now, Aston Martin probably do quite well. I think Newey has been, wherever Newey would probably go, the team was going to have a revelation, and the cars look like the upgrades that they brought out the couple of races previous. They've looked quite good, and obviously they've been getting into Q3, battling it out. Obviously next year with Newey as the what do you call it? The engineer for the car. What's the technical name? But yeah, he'll come back to me. I think he'll probably Aston Martin will have a great season. And who's to say that Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso aren't winning the championship next year? Who knows? McLaren could have a massive fall off. Mercedes, you never know, they could get back on that horse and absolutely dominate for the next 2-3 years. Red Bull, on the other hand, I think losing Newey could be a much difficult period for them. And I think with Verstappen as well, obviously they're going to keep him, but there could be a very, very difficult period. And I think they have started that period. Also, as well, that there was some news coming out of the F1 paddock and within the teams as well that apparently this isn't true. It could be true, but it's not been confirmed yet. That apparently Christian Horner could potentially be coming back and being the team principal and CEO of Cadillac F1 racing team. It's not officially confirmed yet. There were rumors that were coming out of there. It's all over Twitter. It's all over like F1 channels and things. And there's obviously we're still waiting for that confirmation of F1 to say breaking news: Christian Horner returns, Cadillac team principal. I think that he probably would go. I think there's, as Toto Wood said in an interview with Sky F1, that Christian Horner's got unfinished business in F1, and I think obviously losing Christian Horner at Red Bull, it doesn't seem right. Like if you say Red Bull, your first thing you think of is obviously Verstappen, but then for me personally, or for a lot of F1 fans, it's Christian Horner. Christian Horner, like since they started, he's been the team principal. He's been there with Sebastian Vettel when he won 4 world championships, Verstappen, and he's a good team principal. Obviously, no one condones what he's done or whatever might have happened in the past, because it's unacceptable. And I think going to Cadillac, he can rebuild a team like he did with kind of Red Bull, or build a team like he did with Red Bull. And he knows Cadillac in the next 10 years could be championship winning side. You never know. Not side, championship winning team. Obviously, look on the Premier League. Obviously, it's Thursday today. There's no Friday night football, I don't think. I'm not sure. Is there a Friday night game? Yeah, no. So just the regular Saturday kickoffs now. So we'll look ahead onto that. But yeah, thank you all for watching. See you in a bit.